We'll begin in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, what? The questions already? Just hold on. Just figuring out how to record this meeting. Okay, so I cannot grant you access to record the meeting, but I can record the meeting. So what I'll do is I'll record this meeting and I'll share it with you later on. You check it out on our website. Yeah, I mean I'm pretty close to the mic. So something wrong. Okay, how about now? Is it better? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we're waiting. Can you guys introduce yourself? Like, what is your background and what you guys are doing? Anybody in the chat?
Uh, Hello, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right. I'm Tristan Ritland. I'm new to JavaScript. I'm just hoping to learn a little bit
Okay.
about what's available.
Mhm. Okay, so do you have any experience with like HTML and CSS?
Um, I do not. I have more experience with I have experience with Python and C.
Okay. Okay. So we're getting to web development.
Actually, I mean, I've got a vague understanding of how HTML works, but I'm not familiar at all with CSS.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, we're not going to talk about HTML today. We'll be just talking about JS libraries. So yeah, you said you know C. Am I getting that correct?
Yeah,
Oh man, HTML is very easy compared to C. You don't even have to worry about it.
is very what?
Easy. That's what I'm trying to
Ah,
say. I mean, C is the
yeah,
hardest programming language I've worked with, and I mean, HTML is nothing. HTML is not even a language. So yeah,
yeah. It's more markup. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. I mean, you'll grasp it pretty good. That's fine.
you know.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Okay, so we'll be beginning shortly.
Sure.
Okay, waiting for some more people. Okay, so let's begin. So I'm sure you're seeing the Chrome, Google Chrome that I'm sharing with you, the PowerPoint, not just text me, and I'll figure it out. Okay, wait. I'll answer your question. Just please hold on a second. I'll just complete this presentation and then I'll answer your question. Okay, it's 4:15, so let's begin. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you must almost have an idea of what JavaScript is. It's a programming language that lives on web, and it was mostly previously used to create dynamic websites. Now, with the introduction of a runtime called Node.js, JavaScript can work on the server as well. So the JavaScript environment has pretty much increased, and it's better to learn JavaScript right now than ever. It's a very good time. So why should you learn JavaScript, and who should learn JavaScript? Okay, so anybody who's interested in creating websites or creating the backend servers should learn JavaScript, and anybody who is a designer, blogger, entrepreneur, project manager should learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript because they're the core of web development. And I believe most of you want to be web developers. I'm assuming that. So you must learn JavaScript. The plain JavaScript is, although it's good, but there are some frameworks which offer much more control over what kind of web applications you want to build. So if you want to build highly data-driven applications, such as, let's say, let's hypothetically consider Google Docs. Okay, so what Google Docs is, it's a alternative to Microsoft Word, and it lives on the browser. So everything underlying is JavaScript on the front end. On the back end, they're probably using Java or Go. They're probably using Go, but on the front
What
end,
did
it's JavaScript.
sorry. What did you just say? Front end is what?
I'm sorry. Can you please?
What was the last like the last sentence you just said?
I just said that JavaScript lives on the front end. So I was talking about uh, Google Docs. Google Docs is a web application. It's an alternative to Microsoft Word. And so all the front end that is handled is by using JavaScript. So all the real-time updates that you see, all the multiple people editing the document you can see is done by using JavaScript. So in the backend, they're using probably a different language, but in the front end, it's all JavaScript. So if you want to create more data-driven applications, then JavaScript is useful, but frameworks offer much more stability and much more power to us.
Where does for the front end of JavaScript,
Yeah.
where is it strong when you're talking about using it as a backend on
JavaScript as a
servers?
backend. Yeah, when we're using Node.js. So when we're using Node.js is a runtime. It's based on V8, Google Chrome's V8 engine, JavaScript engine, and I guess Microsoft is also developing their own engine called. I guess they have their own engine called Chakra.
Uh huh.
That's where they they are trying to improve the Node.js performance. So right now, Node.js, I mean, JavaScript is very much alive on the server side as well. There are many applications which I can show you right now that which use Node.js. I've covered everything in the slides. So let me go to the slides and I'll just explain it to you how JavaScript is being used on the server side as well.
All right.
Okay, so these are the few job titles that JavaScript developers can get. Depending on which library do you learn or which framework do you learn, you can be either a React.JS developer, a normal pure JavaScript developer, or a Node.js developer, or even Angular.js. There are multiple libraries considering the front end, which are jQuery. There are some libraries specifically for the Vue. I mean, the Vue layer of the MVC pattern. That library is called React. There are some big frameworks such as Angular and Vue.JS. There are some other frameworks such as Meteor, and there's an engine called Node.js, JavaScript runtime engine called V8, which runs on Node.js. So I will explain later. So these are the frameworks and libraries that we're going to cover. One is jQuery, React.js, Angular.js, D3, Node, and Meteor. So what I'm trying to do over here is I'm going from a library to a framework. Okay, so first two, jQuery and React.js are both libraries, they're not frameworks. D3 is a library. D3 is only used for creating graphs or statistical data, how to show statistical data on a website. That's what D3 is used for. And Angular is mostly used for data-driven applications. You want to interact with the application by sending heavy data to the backend and retrieving data in the real time. That's what Angular is used for. Node.js, as I mentioned, lives on the server. It takes in requests and serves up the data. Meteor.js is something very interesting. It's currently emerging, and I'll talk to you later on.
Quick thing before you go on. I just want to know, is there some way you can turn up the volume, or we can turn up the volume, because it's hard to hear you.
There's a audio option in the settings. If you just check your volume, because volume from my end is full actually.
Okay.
You might want to check your system's mic gain too. I find that that's only decent when it's all the way at the top.
Yeah, it's full. Mine is also full.
No, not you. I'm sure yours is full, but I'm not talking to the other guy.
Okay.
All right, so it's okay. I don't know where to access that, but okay.
Are you on a Windows machine?
Mac.
Well then I can't help you.
Okay. It's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, so just tell me who is having problems with mic. Just text me. Okay.
Yeah, some other people are having problems too. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, but we can also hear whatever's in the background, and it's really loud.
Okay, so I turn up the mic. Okay, hold on a second. How about now?
That's good, I think. I mean, I'm not the one with the problem, but...
Okay, some people are saying it's good, some people are saying it's bad. Okay, just leave me a message and I'll figure it out.
I hear you better, so.
Okay, no problem. So I'll continue. If you have any problems, just text me and I'll figure it out. Thanks. So first of all, what's the difference between JavaScript libraries and JavaScript frameworks? Okay, so JavaScript library are predefined functions. Okay, just one second. Somebody's texting me. Okay, it's working. Okay, so JavaScript library offers some pre-built functions which are then used to okay, guys, please. Okay, thank you. As I mentioned, JavaScript library is a library pre-written JavaScript, which are functions and which we can use to modify our front end, the DOM. I'm not familiar if everybody's familiar with DOM. DOM is a document object model. That's where all of your HTML lives in. So if you want to change the elements manually or on the runtime, there are some libraries which offer easy access to those elements, such as jQuery. And a framework is something much more bigger than a library. So framework offers us data service and other options. It offers us a complete control over what kind of application you want to design. So it starts from the basic designing of the application, and most of the front-end frameworks are opinionated. So in case you're using Angular, Angular is a highly opinionated framework. So there is a option called, there are some options to write components and services. There is one specific option that I want to mention over here. It's called services. So if you don't write the services component in a specific format, Angular does not work. So that's the main difference between JavaScript framework and a JavaScript library. With library, you have predefined functions that you just call, and in framework, you design everything by scratch, but you have to adhere to the JavaScript framework's rules. Okay, so some of the frameworks that I mentioned before are Angular, and one of them also is an Ember.js. There's some other frameworks such as Backbone as well, which are not yet as popular, but Angular is the most popular one, so we're going to cover Angular in this session. Okay, so first talk about JavaScript libraries. Okay, so jQuery. So jQuery, I'm sure everybody must be familiar with. If you're not, I would recommend you check out what jQuery is. It's a JavaScript library with predefined functions, and it's mostly starts with $. So if you want to access some core components of your page's element, let's say if you want to change the, let's say you want to get the data from the text field that the user has inputted the data in, and you want to update the user on some certain information, then jQuery offers much more simpler tool set than using a framework, a heavy framework in this case. And there are some plugins. I mean, jQuery is quite open, so you can build plugins on it. So there are some plugins built on jQuery. One of them is type.js. Okay, I'll show you type.js. 1 second. Okay, so this typing feature, I'm sure you're seeing the Chrome browser. If you're not, just text me. So this is the typing feature that the type.js, the jQuery plugin offers us. So if you want, you can try something out. I mean, this kind of dynamic updation of the text element is offered by this plugin. And there are also multiple plugins which offer us different functionalities. Okay, so these are some of the jQuery sites that are heavily using jQuery. I'm not sure if you're aware of parallax scrolling effect, wherein the image is scrolled down slowly rather in contrast to the content. So that scrolling effect is handled by jQuery. I'll show you exactly what this means. I don't think this will be updated on real time because I don't know. Let's see. So whatever you're seeing, so I'm scrolling right now. Okay, so these effects are created by jQuery jQuery plugin. And we also have jQuery Mobile that I wanted to explain it to you. jQuery Mobile is built only for mobile sites. So if you want to create 2 different versions of your website, one specifically for the desktop or tablets, and one specifically for the mobile phones, you can serve it over different REST APIs, API points. And in that case, you can use jQuery Mobile. So this site is created using jQuery. Okay, so there are some sites over here that I've mentioned. You can check it on. There's link in the chat. You can check on this PowerPoint presentation and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so next library that I want to talk about is React. Okay, React was initially developed by Facebook. Currently, Facebook is the main maintainer of this open source project. I don't know if anybody uses Instagram, or I guess everybody uses Instagram. Most of the functionality that Instagram offers is controlled using React.JS. So what React is, you create multiple components. So let's say if you wanted to create a form, hypothetically, let's consider you wanted to create a form, use a form, and you wanted to port that form to a different website. So let's say if your first website was abc.com, okay, you had a form wherein you accepted user details, and you launched a second website, and you wanted to use that same form with a minor changes. React offers this component-based model to easily transfer the code from one side to the other side. And there is something called React Native. So if I'm designing a website for a website using React, I can use that same code with minor alterations and create a native mobile application. So with React, you can create a website, and with React Native, you can create a native mobile application. It's not actually native mobile, but it's pretty much closer to what the other languages in the ecosystems provide. So if iOS is Swift, and if it's Android, it's Java. It goes pretty close to the native performance, but not actually.
So it's cross-platform between web browsers and mobile devices.
Yes, correct. So these are some of the sites that use React.js. There are some applications as well. I know a app called Heal. I don't know if you're familiar with. It's a startup emerging in Los Angeles. They use heavily React. So both of their apps on Android and iOS are created using React. Even Facebook's app is created using React. Instagram is created using React. So you can see the power of React here. Now, Angular. Angular was initially created by an employee of Google. It started in early 2011, but it became popular later than 2013, I guess. And currently, it's in 4th version right now. So there are 2 differences you have to remember for Angular. Okay, so Angular 1 is used heavily by most of the projects that are currently live. So let me show you those projects. Okay, so one of the projects that I want to show you is healthcare.gov. I'm pretty sure everybody is familiar with it. And the second one is NPR. Okay, so this website is created using Angular. Everything is working with Angular. This is Angular 1. Okay, so there are some major websites that are still using Angular 1. And currently we are using Angular 4. So what difference is between Angular 1 and Angular 2 or Angular 4 is that initially Angular 1 was a compact model. So everything was connected. So the view, the front end was connected to the backend service that talked to the REST API. So the model, view, and controller were all connected in Angular 1. With Angular 2, they have separated everything out. They have divided everything into modules. People who are familiar with modularity will understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's the major difference between Angular 1 and Angular 2. And here are some sites which you can check out, which are made using Angular 1. Okay, no, I don't want to share. Okay, and one of the differences that I want to talk about Angular 1 and Angular 2 is that with Angular 1, we used to use a single language called JavaScript. In Angular 2 and onwards, we're using something called TypeScript, which is a superset of JavaScript. Google is also using a language called Dart to develop Angular 2 applications. The difference between TypeScript and JavaScript is that TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript, and it offers much more control over what we are trying to do. So it offers us classes. I'm sure if you're coming from an object-oriented programming background, you'll understand the importance of classes. So that's what TypeScript offers us, and it also offers us heavy typing. So in case you're declaring a variable, it will be strongly typed with TypeScript. Okay, so what I wanted to show you is this. So this is a website by Google, and it showcases all the applications that are currently live using Angular 1. So you can go to this site right now and check out which applications are using Angular 1. There's no specific site from Google for Angular 2 or the later versions, but there are some open source, there are some developers who have created some GitHub pages to showcase the Angular 2 applications. You can check them as well. I have a site called Angular Expo. This is not by Google, but it offers us a showcase of what kind of applications you can build using Angular 2. So you can create a YouTube player, even a YouTube player. So Angular is mostly used to create data-driven applications where you are dealing with heavy data, which is constantly being updated, constantly being sent back to the server, and being updated to the user. Okay, now D3 is a JavaScript library, as I mentioned previously. So if you want to work with graphics, if you want to showcase the data that you're getting from the server in a tabular format or in a graph or in a, let's say, a pie chart, then you use D3. Now D3 works heavily with Canvas. If you are familiar with HTML5, HTML5 provides a new API called Canvas, wherein you can create images on the fly using HTML5. So D3 extends that capability to offer us a much more advanced presentation of data using the canvas. D3 is itself written in JavaScript, so you don't have to learn anything else. If you understand JavaScript, it's pretty much straightforward. It's not very complicated because it's a library. Libraries are not usually complicated, so you can learn D3 pretty quickly. So these are some sites which are using D3.js. I know one for sure is that ESPN Cricinfo. It's a site which heavily uses statistics. Okay, it's not working on the browser. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're here. So this is created using D3.js. So this is all JavaScript. Okay, so you can create something like this. You can create pie charts using JavaScript, and you can update it on the dynamic data you're receiving from the server. Now Node.js. Now somebody asked me how JavaScript is used on the server side. So Node.js is a JavaScript runtime built on Chrome's V8 JavaScript engine. What Node.js is, it is a event-driven non-blocking IO model, which provides us the capability to serve the data from database to the front end. So you can create multiple REST APIs using Node.js. I'm sorry?
What?
I'm sorry, somebody said something. Does anybody have a question? Okay, moving on. So as I mentioned, Node.js is used to build REST APIs, which you can use for creating CRUD applications. And currently Node.js is being used in many websites such as PayPal. So the payment model that PayPal uses, even in Stripe, Stripe, I don't know if you're familiar with Stripe, but Stripe gives us a JavaScript library to confirm the credit cards which are authentic. The authenticity is checked using Node.js, and Node.js is also used in some websites such as Walmart. So Walmart has their own modules written in NPM, written in Node, which are available on NPM. And Walmart did those prior to 2013 when they realized that during Black Friday, their sales would rise, and they would need a scalable REST API solution. So they build that solution using Node.js. There are some other projects which are using Node.js as well. So these are some of the sites which use Node.js. Uber uses Node.js. Most of the startups, I mean, if you heard of Mean Stack, so Mean is Mongo. Mongo is a database. Express is a framework of Node.js, which offers us to create REST APIs. N in Mean is Node, and A is Angular. So with these 4 JavaScript libraries and frameworks, we can create a complete web application using only one language. So this is the power of JavaScript. Okay, now this is something new, Meteor.js. I don't know if you heard about isomorphic JavaScript. So in isomorphic JavaScript, everything is written using JavaScript. And it's something similar to Mean, but not exactly Mean, because with Mean Stack, as I mentioned previously, we are using multiple frameworks and multiple technologies. But in Meteor, which is built on Node.js, it offers us complete dependence on JavaScript. So it is highly opinionated platform, and currently only one database is supported for Meteor.js, and that is MongoDB. So all the data that is being transferred from backend to the REST API to the front end is using JSON. Okay, so that is highly opinionated framework. And there are also other frameworks which support isomorphic JavaScript, which are not as popular, so we are not covering it right now. But Meteor.js is getting pretty popular, and there are some people who are building even mobile apps using Meteor.js. Now, what is a JSON? So I mentioned Meteor.js uses, isomorphic JavaScript uses, heavily relies on JSON, right? So JSON is a JavaScript object notation. Yeah, I'm covering Ajax, just please hold on. So JSON is a lightweight data interchange format, and Ajax is a technique to connect to the backend and receive data or send data. So with jQuery, that's the best example for explaining to you what Ajax is. With jQuery, you can contact the backend to receive some data. There's a call which is made using HTTP requests, and that call is made using Ajax technique. So the function that we'll write in this case will be jQuery.ajax. So Ajax is just a method that is written in the jQuery library that offers us to send and receive data effectively. Yeah, and these are some of the courses that we offer. So if you have any questions, you can direct them to me right now.
Yeah. So, can you give an example of how you would have a client-based library or framework communicating with Node.js on the server?
Okay, so just one second. Okay, let me show you the code that I'm working on. So give me 1 second. I'll directly show you the code. Till then, anybody, any other questions? Okay, do you know Vue.JS? Yeah, it's a framework similar to Angular. I mean, if you know one framework, you can work with other framework. So yeah, I could say I know Vue.js, but I would suggest to use Angular right now. I mean, to learn Angular right now, because it's the hottest framework and you'll get a job quickly if you learn Angular.
Can I ask, I mean, I know this might be moving a little backwards. I think you may have covered this, but I'm wondering, I understand the concept of a library, but a framework, is that sort of like I'm imagining like an execution environment? It's what is it?
Okay, so framework is mostly divided into multiple modules. So let's consider it as framework as a collection of libraries. You can
Okay.
say that. Yeah. So I mean, with libraries, you have only freedom to use the functions which are predefined. But if you want to create the design, you want to scale up from the design, you use a framework. Okay, just
All right.
1 second. I'll start up a server quickly. When should we use React.JS or Angular.JS? It depends. It depends on the type of project you're working. If you're building a heavily data-driven application, I would suggest using Angular. But React, first of all, let's not confuse between React.js and Angular.js, because React is a library and Angular is a framework. Okay, so okay, just 1 second. Okay, anybody, any questions? I'm starting up the node server right now. So once it starts up, I'll show you the screen. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm using Sublime Text. I mostly use Sublime Text, but sometimes I switch over to Visual Studio Code, depending on if I'm working on an Angular 4 project, because Visual Studio Code provides me some good functionality to work with Angular. And if I want to use a live server, I would prefer Atom.
Have you ever used brackets?
Yeah, I've used brackets previously, but I'm not a big fan of it.
Why not?
Okay, just 1 second.
No problem.
I'm starting up the project. A bracket, I found it pretty lagging. I don't know why.
Okay.
Okay, just 1 second. Okay, any other questions?
Is that your phone and text number right there, and your email?
I'm sorry?
For the question in A, is that your phone number / text? That's your phone number right here, and the contact, or is that company?
I don't know. Where are you seeing the?
Oh, the question in A on your slideshow.
Don't bet the Q&A on the PDF.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that's not my number. That's our office's number. You
Okay.
can contact our office.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Okay. Okay, so the person who asked me about Node.js, what exactly do you want to know? Do you want to see the code, or do you want to see how it's being served over the REST API?
Yeah, I guess either or. I mean, what I'm aware of using with Node with is kind of for push communications, not so much for receiving them,
Mm-hmm.
and like a bigger framework like Drupal.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just wondering, on a purely JavaScript client
Mm-hmm.
and server based model, if you could give examples of how that would work.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, okay. I'll show you the commands as well. Just give me 1 second.
As well as like what client-based what libraries would work with a Node.js server.
What libraries would you use with Node.js server? That's what you're asking me?
Yeah.
If I'm using a Node.js server on the backend, I would first of all consider using a framework to build APIs. So I'll show you in a minute. Just let me share the screen.
All right.
Can you see the headline text that I'm sharing with you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see the code, right? Yeah, okay. So this is a main server file, which I am currently working on. Okay, let me show you the REST APIs, how they are being served. Yeah, okay. So server is okay, first of all, let me show you what a server is. 1 second, bear with me. Okay, so here, if you can see, I'm creating a server using a Restify. Restify is a framework for Node. So with this, I'm creating a server and I am serving the data over here. Okay, so whenever I hit this address, I mean, this is a GET request, so it's not GET. If I'm putting something, it will be post. So over here it is post, over it is put. Put is used for updation, and delete as in for delete. I can spin up the front end as well. Just give me 1 second. I can show you exactly how this is working.
Each of those server processes, post, put, get, delete.
Yeah.
Those are all HTTP server request types, right?
Yeah, those are HTTP requests.
So Node is smart enough to figure out what kind of server request is coming in and route it properly.
Yeah. So this is why we're routing. Okay. So this is a server request we are getting. So let's say server.post. So what the server is supposed to do is, I mean, what we are supposed to do is we have to call a create post method. So whenever let me show you the front end that will make more sense when I'm talking to you. Just give me 1 second. I'll start up the server. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, any other questions?
So all this is nodes, correct?
The code I'm sharing with you, yeah. No.
Okay.
So let me, come on, man. What's wrong with you? You said you use Visual Studio. I use Visual Studio Code, not the full-blown IDE Visual Studio.
Okay.
Okay, so let me show you quickly something. Okay, so you can see the Chrome browser, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the front end. It's starting on localhost 3000, and I'm in the login page. Okay, so let me create an account quickly. So all of this is happening.
With nodes.
I'm sorry.
All of this happening with nodes.
Yeah, the data is being served from the node. Okay, and this is just the front end. So there's a front end over here. I can share only one screen at a time. Give me a second. Okay, so what I showed you over here was the back end. So this is the API, and this is the front end. So in front end, I'm also using Node. So in this case, we are using something called Express. If you can see over here, Express is also framework, Node.js framework. It is used to reroute the requests. Okay, so let me show you over here. Okay, so this is okay. Let's consider I clicked on sign up. So when I get here, what I'll do is I'll serve up a page. So this page is being served up. So if you see this, okay,
Oh, app get. Okay.
so if you see this, this is the page that is being served right now. So I'm hitting this request. This page is being served. Okay. So if I do something, oh, come on, what's wrong with you? Okay. Oh, okay, my database is not connected. Forgive me. So this will not work. I'm sorry about that. Okay, just one second. So I got this error over here. You can see the screen. So what I did was I started this server over here, and I get this error because the database is not running. So I'll need a couple of more minutes to spin up the database, but I don't think we should waste any time. If you have any questions, you can just ask me till I spin up the database.
So was it v1.js and app.js? Are those two separate server instances?
Okay, hold on a second. Let me show you that. Okay, so what the V1 is? V1 is an agnostic API. Okay, so it is not dependent on the front end.
Okay.
So over here, I mean, you can hit this with a mobile as well. So if I created a mobile app tomorrow and I call this request, it will still work. Okay, so this is agnostic API. What
Sure.
with what with www, that's the front end. What I'm doing over here is I have some layouts. I'm using handlebars. So handlebars is a templating engine in which I have to just write a single template and I can load multiple pages into those templates. Okay, so those are getting served using Express. Node is packaging them together and serving them on the front end. Okay, that answer your question? How is Express different from Node?
Yeah. So which one? So v1.js is the server instance,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So
V1.js.
v1.js is a server and it's written in Restify. You just
Okay,
get
and then that app.js is what's used just for the processing.
app.js is used for serving of the templates. So, okay,
Okay,
hold on.
gotcha.
Yeah, so if you can see over here.
Yeah, 'cause it looked like they're both responding to path routes.
I'm sorry?
So it looked like they were both responding to path URL path routes.
Yeah, yeah, they're both routing. They're both routing. So what Express is doing is it's routing the front end, and with the Restify, that's the v1.js, that's routing the back end. So whenever you hit a 9,000, okay, let me show you that. I can hide this. Okay, so this is explicitly for the backend only. So when I'm getting V1, I'm rerouting it to somewhere else. So if I go to create posts, okay, so this is a create post function. Okay. And over here, first of all, I'm authenticating the user is actually present. And later on, I'm sending that data, the create post data. This is the post data to the post module. The post module is connected to the database. Okay, so let me show you the post module. So this is the post module. Okay, so you can see these are directly calls to the database, queries directly into the database. So if I search create post over here, maybe by something else. Okay, it's insert post. I'm sorry. It's not create post over here. It's called insert post. So this is what is getting called. So if I show you the V1 once again, I'm calling post.insert post. Okay, from the post module, the insert post is getting called. And here, insert post. So I'm directly calling to the database. So I'm inserting the data that I'm getting from the front end to the database. Okay, got that? Okay, somebody asked me, how do we handle security for API AJAX call? Because someone who knows the URL, they can make, yeah, that's a good question. So we use something called bcrypt. That's an NPM package. You will learn this as you go along. So this bcrypt, we encrypt everything, okay? And we check that encryption using, there's a private key and a public key. So the private key is stored in the database. I cannot show you the database because it's a company database. I'm sorry about that. But the private key will be stored in the database and it will be verified comparing to that. Then and then only we'll check that if the user is authentic or not. So if I show you, create post. Okay, so this auth function is defined by bcrypt module that I mentioned to you. Okay, the bcrypt is, these are the NPM modules that are being installed. So this is the bcrypt library. And the auth is mentioned over here. So this is where we are getting all the functions that check the authenticity of the user. What encryption scheme is used by bcrypt? Okay, I cannot specifically say what we are right now using, but you can go to their website and check what currently they are using, because we are using the old version of bcrypt. So you can go to their GitHub page and you can see what kind of encryption scheme they're using.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For your function create post, what is the RQ and the RES and the network? What does that mean?
Yeah, that's where the event-driven model comes in. So our REQ is request and RES is response. Okay, so we're getting into the Node.js right now. People are excited about Node.js, but I'll answer your question. Request is something that comes in. Okay, so something that came in. Okay, so the post data, you see the var post data equal to curly braces. That's, I'm creating a blank object, and in that I'm storing whatever the request that has been come. Okay, so from front end, I'm setting the create post, right? From front end, I am creating a post and I'm sending the data that is being get it over here. So that's why the request. And when I send a response back, so I have to verify something, okay? So if I get a request, I have to send something back to the front end. I have to explain it to him like, yeah, I got your request. So I'll send a code, 200 code, status okay. Or if something's not working on the back end, I'll send a status code of 500.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense?
Yeah.
What do you use to debug your JS projects? Okay, so currently we mostly heavily rely on Chrome, and there are some JavaScript tests that we have written. It's a proprietary, what you can see, it's a software, it's a proprietary software. We just pass in the scripts and it gives us if the tests are passed. But mostly we use, Chrome, Google Chrome. Okay, any more questions?
I guess just for an educational thing, just to give a little more introspection, could you speak to WebSockets and how they relate to or Socket.io and how that relates to Node.js and Meteor for that?
I don't know if Meteor is WebSockets. WebSockets is relatively new technology, right? So I don't think currently any framework supports WebSockets.
What about Socket.io?
Socket.io. Okay, hold on a second. I guess Node.js supports Socket.io. I'm not pretty sure about that. I mean, it's still in emerging stages, but yeah, I guess Node.js supports it. Yeah, it just supports it. We cannot directly program into we cannot directly do socket programming using Node.js. There are some modules available, but I guess it will be hard right now because it's still developing.
Okay, because I've got something where I'm using it right now, and Socket.io is a dependency that I have to load. I was wondering if what exactly that was, and if that's what facilitated like the push technology, like the ability to push and asynchronously to the browser.
Okay. I guess Socket.io is. I cannot exactly answer that because I don't have any experience with Socket.io.
Okay.
But it's not used on front end. I can guarantee you. It's used on the back end. But I don't think I can answer that question. I'm sorry about that.
Okay. Thanks.
As I mentioned, our tools are proprietary for testing. There are some third-party tools such as Karma and Jasmine. You can use those. There are some test runners as well. I guess Grunt. Yeah, we can use Grunt as well for task running. Yeah, those are things we can use. But we are currently using some proprietary software that we have written. Real Visual Studio or Visual Studio? Okay, I use Visual Studio Code. That's a cross-platform IDE developed by Microsoft. A quick fun fact about Visual Studio Code, that it's completely written in JavaScript. Okay, so it was created by using Electron.js. Electron.js is based on Node.js, and that's why it's cross-platform.
Center.
Okay, any more questions? Yeah, no, please, thank you. Visual Studio Code is written in Electron.js. Is that framework? Yes, that's the framework. So I can show you if I'm sharing the Chrome browser. Okay, we talk more about using Node.js to build a runtime application. Okay, as I showed you the application, that's how we use Node.js. So what we do initially is we initialize a Node.js project using npm. So if you want to understand how to create Node.js projects, you first understand the concept of npm. So npm is Node Package Manager. Okay, so Node is the package that the runtime that you're going to build is being composed by using multiple packages. So you have to install those packages. Okay, so if I can show you the code once again. Okay, so this is the first file that gets created. Okay, so this is the first file. You mentioned the name of the file, you mentioned the version of the file, and these are the dependencies. These are the packages that are being installed. And if I check on the front end, there is also a package.json file, and these are the dependencies that set up the front end environment. So every time you want to do something, add some new package, you have to save the dependencies in this file. This is your runtime file. This is your environment. This is your complete environment. And it depends on what version of Node you're using. So I guess somebody here mentioned they have version with Python. Version controlling in Python is done using pip, I guess, and it's very hard. It's very confusing. Same is the case with Node.js. You have to first understand what version of the Node.js are you going to use. It's always better to use a stable version, which is LTS. And currently this application that I showed you is running on 4.4 version of Node.js. So the current version, the latest version is, I guess, version 8. It is still very unstable, and the current latest version, which is stable, is 6.10.3. Okay, and somebody mentioned Electron.js is a framework, so I can show you that. So this is Electron.js. You can build cross-platform applications using Electron.js. It uses Node.js as the underlying runtime engine, and the apps, I can tell you which apps are based on Electron.js. One of them is Visual Studio Code. Another one is Slack. Another one is Atom. So if you're using Atom, it's created using Electron. I guess Brackets is also created using Electron. If we check the apps, okay, so there. Okay, where's the showcase? Yeah, these are the apps built using Electron.js, but I guess they had a showcase page that showed the top apps. You can visit this site, you can understand what apps are built using Electron. Slack, mobile app or desktop app? Desktop app. Electron.js is only used for building desktop applications. If you want to build mobile applications using JavaScript, one of the things that I mentioned was React Native. Another thing is called Ionic.js. So Ionic.js is a framework which uses Angular pretty heavily. And there is also Meteor.js, as I mentioned previously. So this is one of the frameworks that you can create mobile applications. This will be a cross-platform application. This will not be as fast as the React Native or the native application, but it's good. Just don't create the apps which use phones APIs heavily. You cannot access phones APIs in this. Okay, any more questions? You said to get a job fast, learn Angular. When you're comparing Angular with other frameworks, the front-end frameworks like Vue.js, Angular is clearly the winner. But if you want to be a successful front-end developer, you have to have the ability to move between frameworks and libraries. So right now, Angular and React, especially React, is a hot trend. If you go to Google Trends right now and search the frameworks, React is number one, and number two is, I believe, Node.js, if I'm not wrong. I don't know. It keeps on changing, but Angular is between top five. How to deploy Node.js project and hosting. What you can do is, if you're hosting it on a cloud platform, let's say Google Cloud Platform, you create a server, you create a micro instance, and you just, if they're using Apache server, I mean, most of the micro instances have Apache server pre-built in, okay? So you just copy the files, the npm file, the package.json file, and you run npm install, and it will install all the dependencies. And you just start the server. You just run forever npm start, and it will start. All the major cloud platforms support Node.js right now. Even Azure supports it. Azure has, Visual Studio, the original Visual Studio, not the Visual Studio Code. The bigger IDE of Visual Studio supports direct deployment on Azure. You just set up the runtime environment and you connect your Azure cloud to Visual Studio, and you can deploy apps quickly. You don't even need to log into the Azure website. Okay, any other questions? Which are hosting providers to host Node.js projects? And any hosting provider which gives you a micro instance, a Linux instance, that would be good. So I would recommend you choose hosting providers which gives you control over how you're going to deploy it. That's why I said micro instance. There are some hosting providers which do not give you access to what kind of underlying technology are they using. So don't rely on those in case you're using Node.js. I have a pretty bad experience with that. It's better to choose cloud platforms because they offer more support to multiple projects. So let's say if you have a REST API in Node.js today, and if you want to move to Go in the future, you have to think from that perspective as well. So it's better to choose cloud platform any day. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, any more questions? Okay, if you want, you can unmute yourself and you can just talk to me directly. Okay, how easy it is to migrate data from MongoDB to something else? There are some plugins which have been written. I'm assuming you mean something else by some different database. There are some plugins which have been written. If I'm not mistaken, Zapier currently provides that service. It's a service, it's not a plugin, where you can transfer data from MongoDB to different database. Which are still in production. That's what I'm assuming that's what you meant. But if you want to do it locally, there are some plugins which have been written. So I cannot offer you exact plugins, but there are some NPM packages that use to, okay, hold on. Let me see if I have a list to show you.
Sorry, so I stepped away a little bit. What are the where are the follow-up courses located? What are these follow-up courses?
Follow-up courses are offered at our Washington, D.C. office, or you can take them online. Online, even in the weekends, we offer courses.
Okay,
Yeah.
what's your website if we're interested?
myhsds.org. Okay, so if you want, you can download this presentation as well. So if you go to this link, you can download this presentation.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, any more questions?
So did you say for databases, the best ones to do are D3.JS, and then what was the other one? Angular? Those were the two.
Data-driven applications. Yeah. If you want to create a data-driven application, let's say a CRUD application, which continuously talks to the backend and serves the data on the front end, Angular would be a good choice. If you want to create some specific components, let's say you want to create a comment section. Let's consider hypothetically, you have a social blogging platform and you want to create a comment section. In that case, I would not suggest Angular, I would suggest React, because you're only creating that single component, right? You're only creating the comment section. You're not building the whole website from scratch. So Angular and React can work together as well. So if you want, you can insert React components into Angular as well. Does our company have internship? I'm not aware of that, but I'll let you know. You're welcome.
So
Mhm.
the programming language I'm most familiar with is Python.
Mhm.
How does, if you wanted to build some kind of a web application,
Yeah.
how well does, Python mesh in with JavaScript?
JavaScript. I will be honest with you, there have been problems. Even I've tried it previously. The backend was created in Python and we are serving it over API. If it's API based, there will be, I don't think there should be any problem, but yeah, there are some problems. So it's, in my experience, it's better to use some pretty strong framework on the backend as well.
So Java or
Yeah, Java and especially C# work pretty good right now. I'm telling everything from my experience. This is not something, truth, okay? I'm telling you from my experience. C#, the backend created on C#, and I believe it was created using Swift. I'm not sure if you're aware, but there are people building backend on Swift as well right now. So Swift works pretty nicely with JavaScript as well.
okay. So if you wanted to get into sort of data science stuff,
Mm-hmm.
what languages?
Python.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're focusing only on data science, Python is the main language for that. And I would also recommend learning Go.
Go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
What apps have you developed?
Web apps.
Any type of apps. It could be web apps or any type of
Okay, so in 2014, I was programming on Windows 8.1. I don't know if you've used Windows phones, but I was developing Windows 8.1 applications. Then I moved on to Universal Windows Platform applications. I had two applications on Windows Store up until early 2016 when they changed their policy. I just took them down. Initially, I was a phone app developer. Then I moved to the database in the web development. And I'm currently working at Sourced, as you can see there. Saw the application. I'm working at Sourced, and there are some applications that I've built. So if you go to parammagazine.com, PARAM,
PARAM.
magazine.com. So it's a site. It's a complete web application. It's a digital magazine in Marathi language, which is one of the languages of India, that we are currently building. So it's still in the initial phases. It was launched last week. So that is one app using Node.js on the back end, and on the front end, it's also again using Express and handlebars. So the internal tools that we use for that website to insert data into the database and to track the author's information, that we are building using Angular 4.
How do we get a recording of the Zoom talk?
I'm not sure why you guys not having the option to do that, but I'm recording it right now. So what I'll do is I'll optimize this video clip and I'll share it. Okay. And I'll send you a follow-up email.
All right, with the link or something.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
How do we handle load balancing for Node.js projects? Okay, so in my experience, what we can do is, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Docker. Docker is a container platform. So what we did in Sourced was we created two instances, two containers, two Docker containers. We deployed the two projects on two different machines. And each time we sent a server from request from front end to the server, it would automatically balance itself. So there's a script for Docker in which we write configuration for balancing the requests that we get. So yeah, that's what we're using. Okay, the person who asked me previously how to move data from MongoDB, if I'm not sure, there is a service called mlab that you can use. So there are some pre-built drivers written by mlab, which will allow you to transfer your data from MongoDB to different different database. Yeah, mlab, that's correct.
So, quick question.
Mm-hmm.
So, what about when it comes to like applications and like data science or medicine, so more like bioinformatics stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know? I guess maybe. I mean, Python to me seems like what seems to be predominant, but other languages that I guess you might recommend regarding that.
Okay, if you're mentioning bioscience, did you mention bioscience? Yes. So there are some companies that I know that are using Dart. Dart is a language created by Google. It's still in the initial phases, but they're using it for data science. So, I mean, this is something that I heard that it will probably take over data science in next couple of years. So I would not recommend to study Dart right now, but there's something you should learn about it. And also R, somebody mentioned R, that's correct as well. R is currently predominant.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
So is your interest primarily in the data science field?
Yeah, just data science with like,
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm trying to figure out what term I should use, or like some kind of, where they compile data of, all sorts of different patients, and they
Yeah.
create like statistical models saying
Yeah.
like, oh, you're depending on your genetics, this is what you're
Yeah.
more likely to get or whatever.
Yeah.
You're more susceptible to this disease or
Mm-hmm.
cancer in this area. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what my interest is in, and I'm learning
Okay.
Python now for that purpose because I have an engineering background. So
Yeah. Nice. Nice. I mean, currently data science is a booming field. I can guarantee you that.
so you said some people who are working with this language called Dart.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's right. There's a
do you know in terms of the people that you're talking about, I could contact if I wanted to learn more about that?
I can give you their LinkedIn contacts. I can share you with the email if you want.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're based in Silicon Valley right now, but I'll give you their LinkedIn contacts.
Okay. I'll email you about it, I guess, and then.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Sure, thanks.
Do you have a class to learn about how to design entirely architecture of React, Node.js, and Mongo project? There's a modern stack you're mentioning. What technologies that you mentioned are classified as modern stack. So we offer courses in mean stack. We can also offer courses in modern stack as well. So this will be a curated course for you specifically. But yeah, we offer that.
Are you also teaching the 530? Not 530. The Java.
No, I'm not teaching Java.
So, where's your email contact for further questions?
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll send each and everybody the link, the session that I'm recording, and you can get my email in that case. Okay.
Okay, thank you, man.
Yeah.
All right, see you later.
All right. Any more questions?
So we can send you, I guess, if we have any further questions, we can just send it to the same email that you sent
Yeah.
us, or is that through
Yeah.
Zoom?
Yeah. No problem. You can even connect me on LinkedIn if you want. So that's fine.
All right. I just want to make sure that this is not something that's like through Zoom and you won't see anything worse. So you're the info at myhsts.org.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks. I appreciate the
Yeah.
presentation.
No problem. No problem, man. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, you're welcome, Wade. All right, I'll be here 10 more minutes if you have any questions.